Let's focus on Bangladesh, a country that was once described as India's closest neighbor in almost all ways, now being called China's new military partner. What does that mean for India, for South Asia, and can New Delhi afford to ignore it? This is Quick Take, your quick guide. I am Smita Prakash. The hard facts. Over the past 2 decades, China has become Bangladesh's main defense supplier. From 2019 to 2023, about 72% of Bangladesh's arms imports came from China. Dhaka is now the second largest buyer of Chinese weapons in the world after Pakistan. Beijing has sold Bangladesh tanks, missiles, warships, and even submarines. And now comes the deal. Bangladesh plans to buy a major batch of J-10C fighter jets from China, a package worth $2.2 billion. This will be one of the biggest aviation purchases in Bangladesh's history. They will replace older MiG-29s and F-7s. They will give Dhaka far greater air power than before. So yes, Bangladesh is not just buying from China, it is planning its future defense strategy with China on the side. The politics. In August 2024, Sheikh Hasina's government fell after massive student-led protests. She fled to India and lives here in exile. In 2025, a special tribunal in Dhaka sentenced her to death in absentia. She was found guilty of crimes linked to the crackdown on those protests. Her party says the cases are political. The interim government says it is justice. So Bangladesh today is in a so-called transition. The country is run by Muhammad Yunus and national elections are expected in February 2026. But there seems to be no sense of urgency there. Last week, India's External Affairs Minister said, "What we heard was that people in Bangladesh, particularly those now in power, had an issue with how elections were conducted earlier. If the issue was the election, the first order of business would be to do a fair election." Whichever dispensation comes to power in Bangladesh in February, Dhaka's Beijing tilt seems unlikely to change. China has poured money into Bangladesh. Roads, bridges, power plants, total Chinese investment commitments now run into tens of billions of dollars. There's also the Teesta story. China has drawn up a big river management project on the Teesta and completed its study. For India, the Teesta is a red line because the river flows from Sikkim and West Bengal into Bangladesh close to the Siliguri corridor and the Chicken Neck. Delhi worries that big Chinese projects so close to the border could have strategic implications. China is offering scholarships, language courses, and exchange visits. Among the larger section of Bangladeshi youth, China is now seen as a friend. India, in contrast, is often seen as a nagging elder brother. What does all this mean for India? On the matter of security, a neighbor with Chinese submarines, Chinese warships, and soon Chinese advanced jets changes the military picture in the Bay of Bengal. With regard to diplomacy, for years India and Bangladesh built a close partnership under Sheikh Hasina. Land boundary, security agreements, cooperation on power, trade and connectivity. Now that political anchor is gone. December 6th was Maitri Divas, the day that commemorates India's recognition of Bangladesh as an independent nation on December 6, 1971. Pranay Verma, the Indian envoy to Bangladesh, said that India would continue to extend support in achieving the vision of Bangladesh's founding fathers for a democratic, stable, peaceful, progressive and inclusive nation. The Indian subcontinent perspective. China, as we said, is already the main arms supplier to Pakistan. If Bangladesh too becomes deeply tied into Chinese defense networks, we are looking at a China armed arc across India's land and sea borders. What can India do? Wait and watch till a new government takes shape in Dhaka? But India must talk to democratic forces in Bangladesh, which New Delhi is doing. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has sent his prayers and best wishes to former Bangladesh Prime Minister Khalida Zia. Her health has been declining. Khalida Zia remains one of the most important political figures in Bangladesh's history. The message from Delhi is unusual because relations between India and Khalida Zia had never particularly been warm in the past. Khalida Zia's BNP has publicly thanked Prime Minister Modi for his goodwill. It signals that Delhi is willing to keep doors open. The forces in Bangladesh are no longer India's natural allies, and New Delhi cannot afford to take this lightly.